Anyway, would you like to take this one?
I hated this movie. I hated it.
Go for it. Just lay into it.
I don't even know what it was about.
So we went to go see Hunter Killer, which is a movie that is about the Russian president is kidnapped by members of his own military so that they can use that as a means to start World War III, and the only ones that can save the Russian president and take out his defense minister, whoever it was, is Gerard Butler, who's an American submarine captain on board his sub to go investigate the sinking of another submarine. And it turns out that the Russian sunken submarine was an act of sabotage made to look like the Americans did it. So they bring on board the surviving captain of that Russian submarine, who is Michael Nyqvist. And then meanwhile, there is like this Navy SEALs team that are on land and being let in to save the Russian president and get him on board the submarine so they can get him back to the United States.
You got way more out of this movie than I did. I did
so
not know
that
what
was
this
the plot
about.
of this movie, basically, more or less, kind of the plot of this movie. But no, go ahead. Like, what didn't you like about this movie?
I didn't know what it was about. I didn't care to know.
Right. This movie seemed like it was absolutely up your alley.
Everything that they would say is just like, all right, you son of a bitch, let's go get him or something. It was
No.
like,
You see, that was my favorite part of this movie, in which you were sitting there scoffing at the dialogue that is mostly made up of things like, look alive, people! Eyes on the prize! I've been shot! Well, you're not going to be running a marathon anytime soon. Fuck you! Now you're speaking my language.
That was the dialogue throughout the entire movie.
And then, what else was there? I'm gonna have you court-martialed for this, then it's my job to keep you alive so you'll testify.
Makes no sense. I mean, it's just like, okay.
Think of how much doom that almost happened. Yeah, but then it turned out to be a beautiful day. You came back to save me! You think I'd miss this party?
See, I don't know who was who because everyone looked the same to me.
You don't know who Gerard Butler is? Or
Except
Gary
for
Oldman?
him.
Or Common? Or Linda Cardellini?
She was barely in it, and neither was he, and it was a total sausage fest. The entire movie.
No, Madam President.
That is the only thing I can give this credit for.
Sure.
Is that there is a female president in this.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Uh-huh.
But then everything else, it's like Linda Cardellini, Madam President. Madam President only for like 5 minutes of the movie, and that's it.
Other than the dialogue, my favorite part of this movie is that actually, honestly, this movie has maybe my favorite setup for the movie's hero to show us that he's the hard-ass hero but with a heart of gold, because when we first meet Gerard Butler in this movie, who is playing a character named Joe Glass. So when we first meet Joe Glass in this movie, he is in the mountains in Scotland hunting with a bow and arrow, and he sees a buck that he's about to shoot, and then decides not to when he looks over and sees that the buck has a wife and child.
Like, why didn't
female deer and baby.
A wife?
It's just still like,
You call it a wife?
And so, 15 minutes into this movie, in which, I don't know, it was the first, talk to me, people, like, line like that, which this is one of those movies that is made up of scenes that could all start out with that line, and you were sitting there just laughing to yourself about... It was just one of those, and I know this laugh because I've made it several times, where you just suddenly you make that laugh in a movie because you're laughing at yourself for being here at this movie, and you're like, oh my god, what am I am here, and I'm doing this. Alright, that is just what I am doing tonight. And you looked at me and you went, this movie is not made for me. And then when snipers are taking out all those people, and there's just like headshots just left and right throughout the last act of this movie. You're just sitting there like, God, worst movie. You were having none of this, so that was hilarious coming out of this year. Meanwhile, out of this year, it was actually very, very annoying because the guy sitting next to me was eating just this giant thing of popcorn, which, fine, I do that a lot, but he was choosing to spit out his kernels about every 10 seconds. So I had that going on in my ear.
That's disgusting. I am so glad I wasn't there, because if I was sitting next to you,
Yeah.
or if I was in your spot, I would have left.
Right.
Because I was so ready to leave.
Yeah. Oh, I looked
was-
before right when this movie started. I looked at you and went, I got up to use the restroom, and when I came back, I said, "What would you have done if I just didn't come back until halfway into this movie?" And you looked at me with the most anger that I've ever seen you give.
No,
Not
the most.
not since our vows. When
The most anger.
you just looked at
I
me and
guess I'll marry you.
You looked at me and you went, "I would fucking kill you." And I love what I love about that story is the fact that you would stay there that long with me not coming back for an hour, because this fucking movie is like 2 hours and 1 minute long. Technically over 2 hours long, this movie shouldn't be more than 90 fucking minutes, but it's like 2 hours and 1 or 2 minutes long. You were sitting there like, my God, this is 2 fucking hours long.
Well, this is one of the movies I was not looking forward to
the
most. I was not looking forward to this at all. Because you asked Sarah to see it.
I did. And then
she-
Sarah threw you under the bus. Sarah writes back and goes, "You know who would love a movie like this? Laura."
Laura loves submarines.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, just like buy me a drink tonight or something and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And
No, go ahead.
oh, well, you have to go to another movie,
I
so
do.
you're not going to be able to
Well,
buy me a drink tonight.
At least the next movie I got tonight is only like 90 minutes long. But I was not looking forward to this movie either because the trailers were all lame as fuck. I heard the movie was lame as fuck. I heard Matthew Buck talking about it. Didn't really sound very interesting. And I don't want to be here. I want to be home playing Red Dead Redemption 2. No wonder lame fucking movies are coming out this weekend. Because no one's going to go see this shit. They're going to be home playing Red Dead 2. That's where I would like to be instead of watching this lame fucking submarine movie.
It was so boring and lame. I can't believe people paid money to see this to be entertained. That is how much I am so like...
I think you have
confused.
found your niche for movies to
No.
review on this site.
No.
Movies that if you lived to be 200 years, you would never see.
I will not be that person that sees these movies that are throwaway movies. This movie sucked ass. I hated everything about this movie.
We left this movie and you were like, "Did you like it?" I was like, "No." I was like, "You think I like this movie?" And you were like, "Well, you're not mad at it." And I'm like, "No, I'm not mad at it because it's too fucking boring to be mad at. I'm mad that I'm here instead of playing a game at home."
Well,
like,
the
that's
game's
why
not
I'm
out
fucking
yet.
mad. I know, but like, no, like, Target's releasing it at like 9 o'clock, so I could be there getting it right now instead of
Good. Why
playing,
didn't you-
seeing this fucking shit.
Why
And it-
didn't you just...
Why did I not go? Because then I would not be doing my job, honey.
Yeah, but this is bullshit. I
Uh-huh.
hated this movie. It's not worth it.
It takes a lot, like, to describe the dialogue in this movie, like, because it's that kind of, like, machismo military action movie dialogue where it's a lot of like, "Oh, I came here to dance," like, it's things like that. To describe it like that makes this movie sound more entertaining than it is, and it makes it sound like it would be more up my alley just as a cheesy action movie. It's not.
No.
This movie's lame, and it takes... No, go ahead.
It's boring. That's what it is. Like, it wasn't like Justice League where I hated that movie, but it was fun to, like, hate.
Yeah.
Where I hated it so much where I could just make fun of it.
Were you ever bored during Justice League?
No, because I
Right.
hated it that much.
Yeah.
This movie is so bad that I just hated it so much because it was so boring and it was 2 hours.
This movie is so... Look, I'm the right person to say that this movie is not worth watching because I fucking love me a Gerard Butler action movie. Like, there are just cheesy ass, like, exploitive fucking Gerard Butler movies that I could still sit there and be like, I'm glad I paid money to go see that. I'm glad that Brian and I went to go see London Has Fallen and had the time of our lives watching 90 minutes of Gerard Butler shooting people in the head. So I'm the right person to sit here and say, no, I can't do this fucking movie. Like, I will sit here and be like, I still had fun at this Gerard Butler movie. Not this one, because I love Gerard. Like, fucking, like, when Sarah and I were at, like, fucking Gods of Egypt, and he's with his Scottish accent, like, I'm fucking Egyptian! Like, okay. Like, I had a great time at Den of Thieves in January. Like, I came out of that movie, like, and that movie was 2.5 hours long, and I still came out of Den of Thieves, like, I had a great time with that fucking thing. Yeah, I recommend it. This movie makes Gerard Butler action movies boring, and I hate it for that. For that reason, I fucking hate this movie.
Yeah. Sorry.
Who would you even say is the main character of this movie?
Gerard Butler, I guess. But he's barely, like, not even a leading man in this.
Yeah, because this movie, and it's not like it's an ensemble film. It's just a movie that's different movies and is a mess and doesn't really have a lead character.
Yeah, because they'll have Linda Cardellini and Gary Oldman have their own thing, and and then there's Gerard Butler and his own thing, and then there's some, I don't know, guys that are doing their own thing too. And some Army, Navy guys. I don't know. I don't care.
Did we start World War III? Nah, but we just swam into it.
And you can tell they didn't, like, film together at all or meet each other. It's just,
no, they did not.
Everyone, it's just, like, separate things filmed together, and then there's, like, basically what this movie, what I thought it was about was America versus Russia, and then God bless America and submarines.
And so, well, I mean, that is because sometimes the movie is a submarine thriller. Sometimes it's a movie where they're in the submarine and they're dodging mines and they're dodging missiles and they're trying to keep quiet and they're trying to be stealth and everything. Sometimes the movie is that. And then other times it's a remake of Act of Valor with the, like, SEAL team group.
Oh, yeah.
And then other times it's a Command Center movie with Gary Oldman, which, boy, if you needed anything to cut out of this film to make it under 2 hours long, cut out most of that shit with Gary Oldman and General Common and Linda Cardellini. There is kind of one depressing thing about this movie, and that's that Michael Nyqvist is in this. He was the the Russian captain who they saved.
Oh, okay.
And he's a great actor, and he died a year ago.
Oh, so that's his last movie?
It's one of his last movies. And when I saw the trailer for this and saw him pop up in there, my thought was like, when was this movie made? Because it was like a year or so ago that he died. The movie was made like a couple of years ago. But so anyway, it was kind of sad. Because, I mean, he's on screen, and he's good with what little material they give him to work with. He's good, but it's like, so you're watching it going like, all right, yeah, Michael Nyqvist passed away, and he was a great fucking actor. And damn, he's in this piece of shit? Fuck, that's sad. You just want to go home and watch Girl with the Dragon Tattoo or John Wick. Jesus Christ.
The CGI in this during this.
Yeah,
oh my god.
That's another thing that was making me like, I want to go home and play video games.
The CGI in this during the submarine parts when it's underwater is laughable. It looks like a goddamn video game.
It does.
It looks.
It looks bad. It looks bad.
It looks terrible. And it's like, why are you trying to impress me with these effects? Because it does it a lot.
It looks like cutscenes. It looks like video game cutscenes. It looks like Gerard Butler is nowhere around I don't believe any of this. Like, I will say, if I'm stretching to say something nice about this movie, couple things. I've seen a lot of bad movies this year. This movie's not going to make my bottom 10.
Oh, it will for me.
I mean, I know it will for you, but I've seen way worse on a technical aspect than this movie alone. Now, with that being said, this was one of the hardest movies to sit through this year, but I've seen worse I've seen movies that on just grander scopes are worse than this film. This movie is mostly just, like, fucking boring. But I'll say that if I'm stretching here, like, okay, in the last 30 or 40 minutes of this movie, it's still not good. It's still not interesting because I don't care about any of this shit because it didn't do a good job of setting any of this up, so I don't give a flying fuck. But a lot of stuff is happening in the last 30, 40 minutes of this movie.
I guess.
It is mostly just action sequences throughout that.
But I don't care.
No, and
That's
I
the
agree with
thing.
that. No,
It's
I
like-
agree.
It's
Yeah.
like, even if there was anything happening at the last, like, 30 minutes, it's not like they earned anything.
No,
for
they
me.
did. They didn't, but that made it easier to sit through than the first 90 minutes of the film.
I don't know.
I thought, because the first 90 minutes of the movie is just trading a bunch of really bad lines and nothing happening. In the last 30 minutes of it, at least, and you're right, like, yeah, they don't earn any of that shit, because it's not that fucking suspenseful,
And plus, I don't even
but
know
at
what's
least there are
happening.
some heads exploding.
I guess, but I don't even know what's happening. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I didn't even know what the plot was, really.
I knew what was happening. knew
I
what the
didn't, 'cause
plot
I didn't
was.
care.
Just this movie's from the producer of Olympus Has Fallen, so just stay home and watch that. That's a way more entertaining movie than this. It's a way better Gerard Butler movie than this.
Was this an R or?
It's an R. It's a waste of an R.
I know. I'm like, at first I was thinking like, oh, maybe my parents might like it because it has something to do with the Pentagon, and my dad works at the Pentagon or whatever. So it's like, oh, maybe he'll like it.
I was wondering if my dad would like this.
But do you think he would?
Maybe if he caught it on TV, maybe he'd at least be maybe a little bit more forgiving than we're being about this film.
Well, I was thinking like maybe they would like it, but then they said the F word like twice, and then maybe one person is shot, but it wasn't like bloody or anything. It was just normal. And then I was like, is this an R or not? Because they said the F word twice, and I'm like, well, if they're gonna go for an R, go all the way. Like, don't just.
That's what Olympus and London Has Fallen did. Like, Gerard Butler was using people's heads to stop cars. Like, in this, I can see where it's an R because of all the headshots that are in the film.
There aren't that many. There
But
were
enough
like
for it.
one.
No,
But it wasn't
when that's-
bloody. It could have been a PG-13.
It's bloody for a light R. When they
That's so
when the
lame.
sniper comes in and is shooting people in that boardroom, and like you just see blood fly all over the table, and when they're in that when they're escaping with the Russian president, and the sniper's taking out all those guys, and it's a lot of like headshots they're serving.
See, this movie is so lame. They can't even get it R right.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a light R.
If you're gonna go, if you're gonna be this stupid and boring, at least
Yeah.
do a PG-13 where a lot of people can see it. You know?
Maybe they're doing people a favor, so now less people will go see this piece of shit.
Oh yeah, but people that don't see a lot of movies,
you know
so they don't have anything to really compare it to.
Do you know what this movie kind of felt
Ooh,
like?
that's Irving.
It felt like, it felt like, if this movie was condensed down to an hour, it felt like it would have been one of those pilots that we watched last weekend for binge watch.
Yeah, if it was like a 2-hour pilot.
Fuck that shit. No, cut this shit down to an hour.
This movie should have been just like 90 minutes.
You could cut this down to
Seriously.
an hour because the Russian president is rescued 90 minutes into the movie. You were sitting there like, what the fuck else is left?
I know, I was like, what story is there to tell?
Yeah.
There's no story. It's just a lame-ass movie, and it sucked.
Well,
I hated it.
This is fun, Eddie. This is my favorite review that you've done. And
Really?
I can't wait for more movies like this
No,
to come out.
don't
for
do
more
this. Don't.
military thrillers that I need to send you to. Oh, don't worry, I'll be there too. I won't just be
No.
sending you there by yourself. You,
Oh, Irving just said, I love watching this from the next car over.
he's got a front row seat. Well, we should wrap this up. I gotta get you home, and then
Yeah,
he and I gotta see Johnny English Strike Back.
I was like, Brad, can you get me a drink on the way home or something?
I can't be late for Johnny English 3.
Well, you owe me. I told that to him
once
right after
the
the movie was
I'm
over. I was
at-
like, you owe me.
No, yeah, the movie. This movie's only like 90 minutes. Once I'm done, I'll get you. I'll go out and get you a nice glass of rye and a pack of cigarettes.
I don't smoke cigarettes. I mean, I used to, but...
Any final thoughts about it?
I think I made my point pretty clear. It
yeah.
sucked. Don't see this.
She was kind of iffy about the movie.
It was a little meh. No, this movie sucked. Don't
It's
see
pretty.
it.
It's as lame as the fucking trailer.
Doesn't
is.
even deserve a TV movie watch. Like, don't watch it on TV. Don't watch it ever. It sucked ass. I hated it. Everything about it.
Stay home, watch A Den of Thieves, watch either of the Olympus movies. This sucks. This sucks. Watch Geostorm. You get to watch Gerard Butler fight the weather.
At least that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
That movie wasn't boring.
Anyways, okay.
See you guys.
Bye.
Oh, Irving and I will be back around like 11:45ish Central for Johnny English 3. So thanks a bunch, everyone, for watching. Take care. Ah! Oh no, the sun.